We're going to be reading Fish is Fish by Lionni today. Fish is Fish by Lionni. Look at the illustrations too. They're really great. At the edge of the woods, there was a pond, and there was a minnow, and a tadpole swam among the weeds. They were inseparable friends. So a minnow and a tadpole. A minnow is a fish and a tadpole is a fish. One morning, the tadpole discovered that during the night he had grown two little legs. Look, he said triumphantly. Look, I am a frog. Nonsense, said the minnow. How could you be a frog if only last night you were a little fish like me? They argued and argued until finally the tadpole said, Frogs are frogs and fish is fish, and that's that. In the weeks that followed, the tadpole grew tiny front legs and his tail got smaller and smaller. Look at the illustrations. Look at Minnow's face. And then, one fine day, a real frog now, he climbed out of the water and on to the grassy bank. What do you think his friend Minnow thinks now? The minnow too had grown and become a larger fish. He often wondered where his four-footed friend had gone, but days and weeks went by, and the frog did not return. Then one day, with a happy splash that shook the weeds, the frog jumped into the pond. "Where have you been?" asked the fish excitedly. "I have been about the world, hopping here and there," said the frog, "and I have seen extraordinary things." "Like what?" asked the fish. "Birds," said the frog mysteriously. "Birds." And he told the fish about birds who had wings and two legs and many, many colors. The longer they talked, his friend saw birds fly through his mind like large feathered fish. "What else?" asked the fish impatiently. So what has the frog gotten to see up on land that the fish has never seen? The fish doesn't even know what a bird looks like. He's just trying to picture it in his mind. He's never seen a real bird. But he must be doing a good job describing it. "Cows," said the frog. "Cows! They have four legs, horns, eat grass, and carry pink bags of milk." Listen to how he's describing it. Pink bags of milk. And then look at how the fish is picturing it. "And people," said the frog, "men, women, children." And he talked and talked until it was dark in the pond. But the picture in the fish's mind was full of lights and colors and marvelous things, and he couldn't sleep. Ah, if only he could jump about like his friend and see that wonderful world. Look how he's picturing people, because he's never seen people. He just thinks everybody looks like a fish with legs, a fish with wings. He thinks everybody would just look like a fish with extra stuff because that's all he knows. So that's what he's picturing the world must be like up there. And so the days went by. The frog had gone, and the fish just lay there, dreaming about birds in flight, grazing cows, and those strange animals, all dressed up, that his friend called people. One day he finally decided that come what may, he too must see them. And so with a mighty whack of the tail, he jumped clear out of the water and on to the bank. Make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen? The frog has developed lungs, so he doesn't need to be in the water, but the fish needs to be in the water to breathe using his gills. He landed in the dry, warm grass, and he lay there, unable to breathe or move. "Help," he groaned feebly. He can't really do anything. Without water, he can't breathe. Fish need water just like animals and people with lungs need air. Luckily, the frog, who had been hunting butterflies, grabbed with all his strength and pushed him back into the pond. Minnow looks pretty happy now. Frog saving him. Still stunned, the fish floated about for an instant. Then he breathed deeply, letting the cool water run through his gills. Now he felt weightless again, and with an ever so slight motion of the tail, he could move to and fro, up and down, as before. The sun rays reached down within the weeds and gently shifted patches of luminous color. This world was surely the most beautiful of all worlds. He smiled at his friend the frog, who sat watching him from a lily leaf. You were right, he said. Fish is fish. So now they're realizing how different they really are. They have some things in common, but they really are different. One is living up on land and one is living down in the water, and they can't really do what the other one is doing. The fish can't join him in that life up on land. The end. So I want you to think about, as we end our story, move myself up there. As we end our story, I want you to think about how the fish must have felt when he had his best friend in the whole world and he started to change right in front of him. He probably didn't know what to think or how to feel. And he had to really deal with some of those feelings. But then the frog must have felt a little bit sad too, leaving what he knew behind. But he got to go exploring in a way that the fish never did. So I want you to think about how they felt and if you think that after the story ended that they were able to keep that friendship going. Talk about it with a grown up and then tell me in our live lesson tomorrow what you think. Bye.